Cincinnati fans! Welcome to week 4 of the Anchor Down Cincinnati podcast. I want to give a special thank you to everybody who's been showing some love and support for the first 3 weeks. We actually just reached 1,000 followers in 30 days, so that's awesome, and I can't thank everybody enough for following the page and listening in. I want to give a special thank you to Matthew Hausler with Matthew's Mazes, who designed the logo. He's been freaking awesome through this whole process. We are actually in contact right now we've been in contact all week, getting some ideas for merchandise out there. So thank you to him. Merchandise should be coming up on the website this week. But also wanted to give another thank you to one of our main sponsors of the show here, Matt Ernst with Ernst & Associates. And folks, never drink and drive. If you do find yourself caught in any trouble, facing a DUI charge may be one of the most frightening times of your life. Loss of your license, your job, and even your freedom are things you don't want to take lightly. Call DUI Matt of Ernst & Associates or visit www.igotadui.com for a free consultation where he can explain your rights and how he can help you. Folks, I kind of want to just jump right into it. We got a very special guest today, and I'm super excited to introduce him. We got the Cincinnati Bengals #1 super-fan who goes to all 16 games every year, has one of the best tailgates every football Sunday, the best jeweler in the country, and known for his famous jungle juice. We got Phil Amrein. Phil, how you doing?
Well, I woke up this morning, put on my shirt, the buttons fell off. I grabbed my golf bag, the strap fell off. I'm afraid to go to the bathroom.
I mean, your golf game's on point, though, this year, right?
I'm hitting the ball well, but I can't wait for football season, I have to tell you.
Hey, it's coming up. And thank God we actually got, the fact that we got some sports on TV. I was watching golf this morning.
Yeah?
Actually on TV. It was awesome.
Were you watching that Brady Manning thing?
Yeah, I did.
I tell you what, Brady is not a good golfer.
No. And he's going against Peyton, and Peyton looks like $1 million out there.
They look good. They look good. I don't know. I think Tom Brady tries too hard because he's very competitive.
Yeah.
He's not the greatest football player for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you say not the greatest.
No, I think he is the greatest.
Okay.
That's what I meant. I misspoke. He's the greatest quarterback.
Well, I go back and forth. I get into it with quite some people because I am a closet Green Bay. Well, I shouldn't say Green Bay. Followed Aaron Rodgers all through Cal. I live, breathe, die by Aaron Rodgers. I follow him through thick and thin. But I get a lot of heat for that. That's just one of my hot takes.
I would take Brett Favre over Aaron Rodgers any day.
The guy's got an absolute cannon for an arm. But so on tap today, we got our 2020 Bengals. But actually, you know what? Introduce yourself first off. Let's hear about Phil Amrein.
Phil Amrein. I'm a Cincinnatian, and I think that's what leads me to love my Bengals so much, because there are only 32 NFL teams in the world, and my little hometown of Cincinnati has one. I think you have to love your city and just love them without holding back, because so many people complain about, I don't know, the Bengals do this, the Reds do that, UC does that. Love them just because they're your hometown team. The Chicago Cubs fans didn't go to the World Series, or didn't win the World Series for 109 years, yet they love their Cubbies. The Boston Red Sox didn't win a World Series, but they love the Sox. The Cleveland Browns fans, I know I'm mentioning that, but they were 1 in 32, and the stadium was still 80% full. I'm embarrassed at our fans. I have to tell you, I'm embarrassed. They booed Andy Dalton at the All-Star game. Are you kidding me? What low-class fans we have here.
I was listening to it. They used to have Andy Dalton. I was starting to clap my hands, and the whole entire stadium. It was at GABP.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. The Cincinnati fair-weather fans, whether it's Bengals, Reds, and soon-to-be FC Cincinnati, if they have 2 more seasons like they've had, they'll have 4,000 people in the stands. The tickets will be $40 a pop. Yeah. The beers will be $10. That new stadium will be empty.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going to be. I know the Cincinnati fans, and it's a damn shame.
It is a shame. Well, it's like I said it in my previous podcast, the whole Zach Taylor thing. People are giving Zach Taylor shit because he had one season. it was his first season. He went into an absolute hellhole where there was how many injuries were last year?
We had a lot of injuries, but he deserved to catch some crap.
Yeah.
He was inexperienced.
Okay.
He's raw talent. He got outcoached in the first 8 games. They had Seattle on the ropes in the opener last year, but he played not to lose. I'm sorry. It takes 3 field goals to beat a touchdown. And it's 4th and 1 at their 2-yard line, and he brings in Bullock to kick a field goal late in the game.
Yeah.
And we wind up losing the game by, 4 points?
Yep.
You got to go for a touchdown that. He got outcoached in the first 8 games.
Now, those last 8 games, I feel like those first 8 games had to happen for him to learn how to finish, maybe close out a game. Not that we had any success towards the end of the season, but we had our 2 wins, whatever it is. Last season is what last season was going to be. I mean, with the cards that were dealt, what do you see for Zach Taylor coming up this year?
Well, I think he learned a lot, and we did have injuries. I mean, when you can't get deep because John Ross, who was leading the league in yards when he got hurt, A.J. Green's out, you got nobody. Tyler Boyd's not going deep.
Yeah.
Auden Tate's not going deep.
Yeah.
So that's why they drafted T. Higgins, which I know a lot of people weren't happy about.
I don't know why.
But I think it was a great pick. Because can you count on A.J. Green? I would have traded him. I would have got another draft pick. I know that goes against all these Cincinnati fans who know so much about football, but I would have gotten rid of A.J. Green. I think T. Higgins was a great pick.
T. Higgins, I think our draft this year, I mean, A+. I mean,
on paper, it's great.
It's great. We'll see how Joe does. I mean, you can't really judge Joe. I hate people who are like, oh, he's going to take us to the AFC title. We don't know. I mean, he hasn't played a game yet, so
the Bengals had to draft him to sell tickets. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They had to draft him because everybody in Cincinnati in the world thought he was the greatest quarterback. And I have to tell you, last year he had a great year.
Yeah.
I loved watching him. And he's a class act.
Yes.
I like that. He's like Andy Dalton, class act. Andy Dalton was a great quarterback. Oh my God, I just said Dalton was a great quarterback. I know all these know-it-alls out there are going, blah, 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 blah. But Andy Dalton, until he got his thumb hurt against Pittsburgh, was having a Hall of Fame season. The Bengals were 10-2 when he got hurt.
It's a Super Bowl team, in my opinion.
They would have won it. And once you hurt the thumb on your throwing hand, I don't think you're ever the same.
Now, when I say he could be a system quarterback somewhere else and go and win a playoff game. Now, if he went, I don't think with our team, with our Bengals, I don't think he was the right fit. Again, yes, Andy is an okay quarterback with us, but if he were to go to like a Dallas, if he's got his O-line, he can do his dump-off passes, he's got a mediocre wide receiver core. Now, I think he could thrive there, but do you think he would find more success here in Cincinnati?
Not now. I think he's damaged goods. Mm-hmm. I really believe that. I would have liked to have seen him gone to the Patriots. I would love for Andy Dalton to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think he's a class act. He was great for the city.
I'm going to actually, if he plays, I will actually maybe root for the Cowboys, which tastes like throw up coming out of my mouth.
You know what? They're okay. I'm tired of hearing America's team, and they don't have the record to back it up.
I mean, with the team you had last year, and you can't win, you can't even make a playoff game? What?
Well, and everybody complains that Mike Brown doesn't spend the money. Jerry Jones spends the money, and look where it's got him. I'm just saying. I think one of the reasons they like Jerry Jones because he's out there.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of like that. Yeah. He gives a crap. He's on the sidelines. Now maybe he butts in, and we'll see how he does with McCarthy there.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
But once again, with Andy Dalton, class act, donates money to the charities. But what I really liked about him, he was truly a fan's player. For instance, I travel to a lot of Bengals games, and I'll stay with the team at the hotel. Well, in the morning, a lot of the starry-eyed fans, the young kids, the players come down, they get out of the elevator, and they have them behind one of those velvet ropes, and they get on the bus. Well, most of the players come down with their dark sunglasses, and they've got their Beats on, and they act like the fans aren't even there. The people that help pay their salaries, the reason that they have a job, not Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton comes out of the elevator, no sunglasses, no Beats, makes a beeline over to the fans, signs and everybody's autograph, selfies, pictures, everything. And then he turns around and he says, "Did I get everybody?"
Yeah.
I'm telling
See,
you.
that's what it's about.
That's really what, and that's why I like Andy Dalton. Don't get me wrong. I wish he would have won the Super Bowl for us, but
I'm happy that he's going to go to a team where he has the opportunity to have a shot.
Absolutely.
That just says miles and miles about what the kind of guy he is.
And I've run into him many times. I was in Kansas City with my son-in-laws, and he comes into the lobby. We're staying at the Bengals, and I said, "Mr. Dalton, can we get a picture?" And I hold my short arm up, and he grabs my phone and says, "I think my arm's a little longer than yours." And he takes a picture with us. Same way in London, very accommodating. He was just great.
Yeah,
he was just great.
That's awesome. Now you say you go to a lot of games. You know, Uncle Phil, I think you go to about every game.
Well, it takes.
I envy you because I see you on Facebook going out to Oakland, Seattle, London. I mean, whether it's in, we'll say, Seattle, whether it's in Baltimore, whether it's in Pittsburgh, you're going to the games.
Right.
That's cool.
You know what? I live life like there's no tomorrow. I'm very fortunate, but it's easy for everybody to do. It doesn't cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I use frequent flyer miles. I'll buy a ticket if I'm going by myself. Now, sometimes my wife goes with me, and sometimes we'll travel with my son-in-laws or my daughters or another couple, Jerry and Shelley Rice. But when I go by myself, I buy a ticket for $20-$30 to sit in the front row. I fly out in it costs me $11 for taxes on frequent flyers, and then my wife gets mad at me because sometimes I'll just crash in a hotel lobby and won't even get a room. So I fly across the country, go to an NFL game, eat, drink for $100, and then I come home.
Now you bring that tailgate. So for those of you out there who listen to the show, I bring up Phil's tailgate every single time because I mean it's, how do you say it? Out of all the tailgates, it's in Lot A. It's a flat out party. So I actually have a story back. What was it? Last year. It was about 20 degrees out, less than 20 degrees. I get down to the tailgate. I say hey to Uncle Phil. And I tell him like, man, it's nippy out here. I didn't bring any hand warmers. I don't know what to do. Now Uncle Phil has his famous jungle juice, and he goes, hey, I got this right here. It's a bowl of fruit with whatever alcohol he's got in it. I'm talking about how cold I am. He goes, hey, the fruit's gone. You just drink this. You'll be okay. It was 80 degrees for me for the rest of the time.
It'll keep you warm.
It really will. But do you take those tailgates with you?
We have taken the tailgate on the road to Tennessee. We took 3 pickup trucks down, full of all our speakers, tents, grills, margarita machine, and we had 60 or 70 people. We bought parking passes in the lot. It was the best tailgate in Nashville. It was unbelievable. Awesome. We had people coming up because we use commercial grade speakers. We've got the music popping. There were some people next to us that had like a little Bose sound machine, and they turned it off and they just came partied with us. Now, it's not just my tailgate, you understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my wife, and it's actually a guy named Jerry Rice. I call him the White Rice. His wife calls him the Minute Rice. But and his wife Shelley. It was his tailgate. I jumped in it, I don't know, 15 years ago, and we call it Jerry's Jungle Land. And it's first class. We don't just do hamburgers and hot dogs and grilled cheese. We do gourmet food.
Oh, that breakfast sandwich is to die for. What was it, brisket last year?
We had brisket. We did Reubens. Yeah. We'll do a chili. We have a celebrity chef, Alfie from Alfio's, comes in. We're trying to get Jeremy Lures from the National Exemplar and Golden Lamb. He's a good friend of mine. He's hasn't been able to get off and come yet, but he's a Dolphins fan, so there's another reason.
Tua, yikes.
It's one of those things. Now, does it bother you, or is it just me, that people who live in Cincinnati and they wear a Pittsburgh jersey? Now, they couldn't find Pittsburgh on a map. They've never been to Pittsburgh. They don't have relatives in Pittsburgh.
Well, what that tells me is that they don't know what football is or what it means, because what they did was they went out, they said, hey, look, this guy or this team has a couple Super Bowl rings. I'm going to pick them. I'm not going to go with what the mainstream is doing. I'm not going to pick my own city. I'm going to go with the mainstream. It just tells me that they're probably ignorant about football. And we all know how we feel about Pittsburgh on this podcast.
See, I think it's a different thing. Because I'll question somebody. I'll say, "What? Are you from Pittsburgh? No. Ever been there? No. Can you find it on a map? No. Do you know anybody from Pittsburgh? No. Well, why are you a fan? Well, I've always been a fan of Pittsburgh.
Oh.
I said,
Okay.
well, actually, you're a bandwagoner, and you probably don't have any success in your life, so you have to jump on somebody else's bandwagon. Well, come on, it's true. Why didn't you like Jacksonville? Why don't you like Buffalo? Well, why don't you like Tampa Bay?
Yeah, well, it's like if you run into a Patriot. I'm sure I'm picking some people out here, but there's Patriots fans in Cincinnati, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Now that Brady's gone, they'll be Buccaneers fans. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, they always like to jump on the winner. I guess. I don't know.
But people do that, no matter whether it's with our Redlegs or our Bengals. I mean, when we were what was it, 8-0, 9? I think we went 11-0 back in 15.
I think most we've ever been is 8-0.
That stadium was loaded.
Oh yeah. Loaded. You know what? There's nothing like going to a game. These people that want to watch it on TV, because there's no line in the bathroom and they get their beer free and all that stuff. Yeah. That stadium is electric. Even when they're not winning, when things start going well, they came back against Arizona 2 years ago, and they were down 2 scores, 3 scores, and brought it back and tied it. And that place was only 2/3 full, but it was jumping. Yep. And I just love my city, and I love my boys. Yeah. I've missed one home game in 26 years, and I've been to 89 road games. So, the cool thing is, I put my Bengals stuff on when I leave the house in the morning to go to the game, or when I leave to go to the airport or wherever if I'm driving, and then I wear my stuff all the way through. And you're representing your city, so you don't act like a jerk. You act like a gentleman. And everybody knows somebody from Cincinnati.
Absolutely, they do. And you know what? I mean, what was it? We went to Indianapolis. And I think I ran into probably about 4 or 5 people that were like, "Oh, no way! I have an uncle that lives there. I've been to GABP. I've been to Paul Brown a couple times." But you're going. I mean, even when you go to like in Oakland,
we ran into people from Oakland last year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now I will tell you one of the cool things the neatest experience when my wife and I were in Seattle a couple years ago when they won. Pac-Man Jones, I think, returned a punt for a touchdown. Yeah. They won, and but we're walking down Pike Street, and we've got our Bengals stuff on, and people are coming up to us. "Hey, where are you from?" And I'm looking, Cincinnati. I've got my stuff on.
Have you seen? First off, Uncle Phil's attire, the orange pant, the orange shorts, and then the orange collared shirt. You can't miss them.
Well, but but we're wearing our Bengals stuff, right?
Exactly.
So I said, "Well, where are you from?" The guy says, "Well, I'm from Vancouver." Yeah. Vancouver. Oh, I love the Bengals. Then we run somebody else from Wyoming, somebody else from Utah, and all of a sudden I'm going, "Why are all these people?" And they said, "Well, we liked Boomer Esiason and the Icky Shuffle." But all these people were coming to the game from out the Pacific Northwest to watch my Bengals. And I'm going, thank God. I feel better about myself now.
There's some company there.
Well, sometimes, when the Bengals are doing well, all the Johnny-come-latelys come out and they want to do a road trip, and there's 10,000 Bengals fans. Last year in Seattle, I think there may have been 200 of us. Yeah. But you see everybody's going, and you get treated well. I have to tell you what, even in Pittsburgh, I tailgate with the same people every year. And I think
how's the atmosphere there? I mean, we got people. There's some people that have asked me, what's
it's okay.
It like?
It's okay. Yeah. I mean, everybody's nice. If you don't act like a jerk. Now, Jerry Rice and I, we use the same line. We hope we give you a game. We just hope we give you a game. Yeah. You don't want to antagonize them and say, "We're going to kick your ass," blah, 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 because you're in their house. Yeah. And you should behave and act like a gentleman. Not to mention, I'm wearing my Cincinnati colors. I go back to that all the time. Yeah. You just act like a gentleman.
That's awesome.
And that's the way you should be.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's so cool because we tailgate with the same people in Pittsburgh, Denver, Houston, Nashville, because we've been there so many times, in Indianapolis. The same people, and they'll call you. because you're friends on Facebook type thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you coming this year? Yeah, we'll be there. But they're so nice.
That's what it's about, though. And honestly, it's why we need our football this year. But I mean, the fact that you're going to those games and showing the support, and also representing Cincinnati like that, is unbelievable. But that reputation has gotten you onto many different platforms for the Bengals. I know. Well, for those of you who watched the draft, Phil was actually on. He was in the background on Zoom. I actually posted a picture on it.
Yeah,
on Facebook.
It was the virtual inner circle, as they called it. The Bengals found out that my wife and I were going out. We had airline tickets to Vegas. We had hotel rooms, and they had put us in the inner circle for the draft up front and center, and then it got canceled. So they called and said, "Hey, the Bengals or the NFL is going to do virtual fans, 15 fans from every team. We'd like you to do it." And it was really cool. I borrowed a Joe Burrow jersey, and I wore it backwards so everybody could see Burrow. And the guy commented and says, "There's even a fan wearing a Joe Burrow jersey. I hope he takes them." But
how was that experience?
It was pretty cool. The NFL calls you and gives you all these rules. You can't wear logo stuff, so on. So wear your team colors, be very animated, and we had a practice night. We had a mock virtual draft. And you see all the other cities do that. Now, we'll tell you, the Bengals had 15 people in their windows every night. Other teams, Indianapolis one night only had 7. Denver had 6. You're going, are you kidding me? Yeah. But it's very cool.
That's awesome. That's great.
I was excited, and we got our boy.
Yeah, exactly. And since you got that relationship with the Bengals, I just find that to be one of the coolest things. Now, as far as I know, you had some sort of relationship, not really a relationship, but you've been in contact with multiple players. As far as getting in contact with management, I know you've mentioned and this is going to come to a shock to a lot of people, but Uncle Phil is a Mike Brown supporter and a Marvin Lewis supporter.
Well, first of all, I've only met Mike Brown once. Yeah. I don't know him. He was a very nice, reserved gentleman. He owns the team. It is his company. Yeah. I'm self-employed. I don't like being told what to do when I probably know my business as well as anyone else. I don't own an NFL team. I should not tell Mr. Brown what to do. Now, I can send suggestions, and I will tell you, I write Mike Brown a letter once a year.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. And guess what? I get a typed, hand-signed letter back within 72 hours.
Really?
72 hours.
So constructive, or is it, hey, I love what you're doing, or what?
First of all, is Mr. Brown, I hope all is well with you. When Pete Brown, his brother, passed away, I mentioned condolences. Yeah, absolutely. I thank him for keeping the team in Cincinnati, because what most people don't realize, he could have left Cincinnati 2 years earlier and gotten more money in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Cleveland took that deal. They were without a team for a couple years. Now, if Cincinnati would have left, and I know there's a lot of people, take your stadium money and all that. Well, take all the other jobs that go with it. The guys that sell beer, the charities that get to work the concession stands, the referees, the TV people, the people at park, all the restaurants and bars who benefit from this, whether they win or lose. Yep. Obviously, there's more money to be had if they win, and it is more fun going to games when they win. I'm not going to lie. It really is.
And I feel like it's coming back to those fair weather fans, because, I'm guilty of it. Who hasn't screamed at their television or...
Well, you get angry.
Exactly.
But don't go, I'm going to be a Pittsburgh fan now.
Exactly.
Come on, give me...
I feel like if we knew... I hope we never know, but what it would be like to not be in a city where you don't have a football team... I feel like we'd be, heartbroken. It would be terrible.
Well, last year, we're out in Oakland, and there were some fans good-naturedly riding us pretty hard about how bad we sucked. Yeah. And I said, next year, I'm going to have a shitty football team, but I'm going to have a football team. Yeah. Because Oakland was leaving for Vegas after that year. Yep. And the guy says, oh, man, you're right.
Exactly.
He says, it's going to suck. I said, you know what? You guys are great fans, and the Oakland fans are fabulous, and they're nice, and they're fun, and they're good football people. They've had their team taken away from them. This is the third time now. Are you kidding me? And
the black hole.
I just get angry at the NFL. And sometimes I think the NFL's fixed. I'm not going to lie.
We can get into that.
Okay, let me ask you one question.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Would the NFL ever, here's a key word, let Jacksonville from the AFC play Tampa Bay from the NFC? Would they ever let that happen? No.
No is the answer.
No. I mean, we saw what happened in that playoff game, and I had made the comment that the NFL would have an absolute heart attack if it were the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl.
And I know we had this conversation before, but to speak to your point, if you look at the ratings of the Monday Night Football, Bengals versus Cardinals, this was 2015, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was the lowest rating on Monday Night Football, or was it Sunday Night Football? It was the lowest Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football rating.
Yeah, it was a Sunday night game. I was there, by the way.
Oh, really?
We lost it last minute, if you recall.
Did. Exactly. But there was one of the lowest Sunday night or Monday Night Football ratings out there. It didn't bring in as much money as if
correct
whatever other team was out there.
Follow the money. Now, you recall when the NCAA did their playoffs on New Year's Eve, and ESPN had to give money back to the advertisers because the ratings were so low. Now, you don't recall that?
I do. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Follow the money. They don't do that anymore. But
I hope that's not true.
I hope it's not true.
Oh,
but
man, it'd be terrible. But you can't tell me that. What was it? Bryant's catch in the corner of the end zone in the 2015
Martavis
game.
Bryant.
Yeah, you can't tell me that was a catch.
It happened right in front of me. He's rolling the ball on his leg, and
it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
But hey, we can also talk about the Shazier hit on Gio as well again. And
Shazier is one of the dirtiest players in the NFL. If he played for the Bengals, they wouldn't give a rat's ass about him. But because he played for Pittsburgh, we're all supposed to feel sorry for him. Now, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, obviously, but he speared Gio, he speared numerous other people because that was his MO.
He
leads with his head, and that's how he got hurt. Yeah. But he is a dirty football player, and the NFL saying you're not supposed to leave with your head, yet they're glorifying this guy.
I mean, again, I think he plays old-fashioned football. I think he really does. In this game, I mean, in the game today, it's changed a lot. I don't know if you're going to be leading with your head. There's probably going to be some consequences with how it goes.
Well, the penalty used to be spearing. Now, when I played, they told you you're going to break your neck.
Yeah. Because
John Brockington got hurt. Ohio State player, played for Green Bay, broke his neck. I think he was playing the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, when that happened.
Yeah.
So it's dumb football. I love aggressive football. I love perfect. He was old school. If he played for Pittsburgh, he'd probably be in the Hall of Fame.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, look at Ray Lewis, a dirty player. Dirty player.
Look at Ray Lewis. I love.
And I love how he played.
I love James Harrison as well, but James Harrison's the same way.
Exactly. We had a guy named Bill Berge, number 66, way back when. He wound up going to the Philadelphia Eagles, but he was a great middle linebacker, dirty player. Dirty player. Loved him.
It's unbelievable. Let's see, but that's sometimes you see somebody who's playing that old school football, and you're like, man, that's just grit right there.
Well, they used to show the big hits on TV because that was it.
Oh,
the big hits.
What was it?
And
there was a shoot. I can't think of it. There was something on ESPN where they did that. It was like 10 years ago where they would show where those big hits were.
Absolutely.
It was awesome. But folks, we actually do want to give a shout out. I actually mentioned this to Phil earlier in when I started the podcast. I called him an OG of the show. He thought that meant an old guy of the show. I'm like, no, that's not an insult. It means you're part of the old gang. So Uncle Phil has he is one of the best jewelers in the country. He has his shop is actually down on Coleraine Avenue, and he's with Amrein Diamonds. You got anything for Amrein Diamonds?
Well, we're privately owned, and it's just my wife and I. We're a custom jeweler, but that doesn't mean we're expensive. It's all about service. We sell nice things for a lot less. It's our life. We love it, and we like to help people out. In fact, if you come into our store and say that you heard Anchors Down Cincinnati, we have a special deal for you. So just make sure that you say, I heard you on Anchors Down Cincinnati, and we're going to take very good care of you. I got a little special something for you.
Absolutely. Well, Uncle Phil, I actually used him for when I bought my wedding or my engagement ring for my fiance. And honestly, when you talk about service, you can go in there. He'll clean your rings for you, take care of you, consult you in the right direction, tell you what's crap, what's not crap.
Well, we won't say that.
Well, he'll shoot you straight.
You know what? It's all taking care of people. I always tell people, I'm going to take care of you like you're my kids, and if it's not good enough for my wife, it's not good enough for the case.
It's awesome.
That's what it is.
Let's
get back to sports.
Yeah, everybody loves what you're doing. So, again, thank you for again being an OG of the show.
Thanks for the pitch.
Absolutely. Well, since you've been to get things back on track, since you've been to all these games, I know you've had some crazy experiences. Let's go we'll say craziest experience you've had at a Bengals game.
Well, at a Bengals game, oh my gosh, that's a toughie. Now, one of the craziest things ever happened, we were down at the Dallas Stadium, at the old Cowboy Stadium, and we were there with a group of 10 people, and we always buy into tailgates. My job is to scout out, see who's got a lot of beer, a lot of good food, and looks like nice people. So I walk up to this guy and I said, hey, can we buy into your tailgate? And he says, sure, $10 a person. So I give him $100. Well, we drank him out of beer, and he's going around this, and he had great brisket. So then we go into the stadium, right? And this guy's sitting behind us. And he says, y'all locals? We go, no, we're from Cincinnati. He says, you follow this bad team? And this is when Chris Perry was on the team, and the Bengals were actually winning this game, and Chris Perry, the running back out of Michigan, fumbles. Well, this guy says, y'all bring your tickets with me. And we go, okay. So at halftime, we go up into the club, and we're sitting there. He says, now I paid for this buffet. There's ice sculptures, there's shrimp, anything you want. And they have 4 decades of Dallas Cowgirl cheerleaders in this area. So at the time I was drinking, and I'm sitting at my table, and here's 2 cranberry and vodkas. Leon Lett winds up. He says, hey, Cincinnati, I thought you'd like to have some drinks. And he sets to that. I said, Mr. Lett, how are you, man? But he's a big dude. Yeah. And so I had my picture taken with Leon Lett and 3 other former Dallas Cowboys. Now, it was awesome. The skinniest I've ever looked, because these guys are huge.
It's awesome.
But that was a fun time.
That is awesome. And I did post that one picture of you with the the Buffalo Bills guy. How is Bills Mafia? You've seen it firsthand multiple times, I'm assuming.
Okay. The first time I went up there, they were absolute jerks. Absolute jerks.
I feel like it's a frat house.
You know what? This goes back to Buffalo. Buffalo sucked. They hadn't been to a playoff game for 17 years until our boys, Andy Dalton to Tyler Boyd, got them in.
Yep.
Knocked off Baltimore and got them in. This was the year before I went up. I was with my son-in-laws. It was cold as crap. And we were sitting in the front row down in the end zone. And people were throwing beer cans at us, and we're throwing them back and say, hey, we don't play this game in Cincinnati. But they were jerks. So fast forward to last year, I go up there. I got treated like a king. They were nice as can be.
Well, they sent chicken wings to the Bengals the next day after Dandy won that.
It was great. But, I mean, but they're very loyal fans up there. They're very passionate. They know their football, even though they sucked. I wish I had that here in Cincinnati. I wish I had 65,000 other people who loved my Bengals like I love my Bengals.
Yeah.
And not just a bunch of cynical people.
Well, I think to back to your point about Mike Brown, for those of you who know, I'm not the biggest Mike Brown fan, mainly because of, I'll say one name, and because you can go back and forth with the money issue, but Bobby Hart. Well, I don't know why he's on the field. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why we're not just paying for somebody else to be there. But I guess what I'm getting at is,
now wait a minute, you're gonna vilify the owner of the team who kept them here, who could have taken them to Cleveland because of Bobby Hart. And by the way, Bobby Hart was, I think, ranked 47th last year.
I don't know how, because
he didn't jump off sides. He didn't hold. He did okay.
I guess he's learned this.
But you know what? He's cheap. and he's young. Do you know there's a guy named Villawahu, or whatever the hell, however you pronounce that name, plays left tackle for the Bengals, or for the Steelers. Do you know he was on the Bengals team?
Yeah, I knew.
By the way, he wasn't good enough. So they developed him. So Bobby Hart, you can develop him. Now, there's a guy named Fred Johnson who's probably going to play right tackle. This year, which we got off Pittsburgh.
And he, again, like I said, this year I feel like he's turning a new leaf. If I'm looking back at the past 5 years at the track record of spending money, you're looking at saving some money. But
he was cheap. So what? He's a body. Sometimes you need bodies.
You need a body, yeah.
And he's still young.
But when you're in the NFL, you can get a body anywhere. Might as well pay for something.
I've seen some of the bodies they brought in when they were all the hurt people last year. They brought Andre Snuffy Smith back in. Come on. Here's why you like Mike Brown. A, he kept the team here. B, he's a loyal guy to a fault. Stanley Wilson, Chris Henry, loyal to a fault, helps people out. By the way, what 2 teams have not sold their naming rights for advertising? I'm just asking. You tell me.
The Bengals are in there.
But who else? What other teams have not sold their naming rights?
Who's the other one?
Lambeau Field.
So, mainly because they want to save money.
No. You make money. If it would be Duke Energy Field, the Bengals get money. He is honoring his father, Paul Brown Stadium.
I get that.
I love that.
Now, I think that's cool.
That's old school
at the
loyalty.
But when you're thinking about it and you go back, I don't know if Marvin Lewis had something with Mike Brown or had something on him. I don't know why he stuck around for 15, 16 years. But to me, as a fan who doesn't know the ins and outs, now granted, we don't know the ins and outs of what's actually going on, keeping somebody who can't win a playoff game, to me, that's cheap.
Well, first of all, Marvin Lewis doesn't tackle. He doesn't catch. He doesn't fumble. He doesn't block.
He did win us that game against Tampa Bay. That was great coaching. I'll give him that. That was one.
I will tell you, Marvin Lewis should have been gone 5 years ago.
Of course.
Okay. And I'm one of these guys. I wanted to hate Marvin Lewis. I wanted to hate him. Now, I've been able to socialize with him and several times, and you can't help but like the guy. I have to tell you, he's a genuine individual. Does a lot for the city.
He does.
And we were down in New Orleans and got to hang out with him, with one of the personnel of the Bengals. And people would come up. He was very gracious, autographs, and he gave us field passes. Well, the next day, we're down on the Superdome floor, and he's on the sidelines. And he said, "Oh, Phil Shelley,
wow.
I just want to make sure everything you got in okay." That's the first time we met him the day before.
Okay.
So the following week, my wife and I are out at Eddie Merlot's. We had some gift cards or something, and we're having dinner. And I hear, Phil Shelley, fancy meeting you in my neighborhood. And we go, "Oh, Marvin, how are you?" He says, and they were playing the Texans. That was a Friday night. They were playing Texans on Sunday. He says, if we win Sunday, we'll have to do this again next week. And, of course, the Bengals beat Houston, but we didn't do that. But Marvin's a great guy, nice man.
He's a great guy, and he does a lot for the city. I'm still out of a playoff win as a fan. But
you know what? I will tell you, you're right. You're right. But if Gresham wouldn't have dropped 3 or 4 balls against Houston.
If Gresham could ever hold a damn football. Holy.
Oh, my God, what a head case.
Oh, my God.
You know, we passed over Gronkowski to take Gresham.
Yes, and
because Gronkowski had a bad back.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's unbelievable. But I guess where I was getting with the Mike Brown situation is there's been, like I said in previous episodes, there's been a lot of changes going on since he spent money this year. He did. He's doing it.
He did.
Look at the offseason changes.
I think he's going to be 83 or 84. He's on the clock.
Yeah.
And the word on the street that I've heard, Mike Brown wants to win a Super Bowl to change his legacy.
Yeah.
He wants to win. He's not cheap. The Bengals are always in the middle on payroll. They're not number 1. They're not number 32. And he takes care of people like Devin Still.
Oh,
the Bengals cut him.
Yeah.
And because his daughter had cancer, Mike Brown still paid his insurance. Now, the Bengals, Marvin Lewis didn't want Devin Still on the team. This is what I hear. but they had that issue with who's the guy from Baltimore that beat his wife up?
Oh, Ray. What's his name?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway, that's going on in the NFL, and so the deal is the NFL needs some good press. So they put the pressure on the Bengals to bring Devin Still back, and they parade him all around the NFL with their jerseys.
71 was it?
75.
75. Yeah, that was cool. Oh,
And
Ray Rice.
Ray Rice. Yeah. And so, the NFL they needed good press. Devin Still sucked, but the NFL made the Bengals bring him back, so they had a positive story.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something cool.
But Mike Brown was going to pay his insurance anyway.
Yeah.
I think Mike Brown's a good man.
And with what he's doing, I mean, with the offseason moves that he's made, and it feels like with the whole new coach, all the new coaches that are coming into Cincinnati, and all the new, it feels like it's just a breath of fresh air. Like the reason I'm starting this podcast, 2020 seems to be a turning point for all of our teams, mainly because we're getting settled in with our coaches and what we really have here, which is exciting to do. But I think with what he's got, I think we can get our numbers up to, back to when you said, maybe we can fill that stadium even more.
I think we will. I think Burrow's going to sell a lot of tickets. Yeah. I think he's probably good for 10,000 tickets.
That'd be awesome.
I'm going to tell you, I got the Bengals at 6-10 this year. A little luck, they could be 7-9, 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't won 3 out of the first 4.
Yep.
And if any luck, maybe they can go and knock Philadelphia off.
Yeah.
But
Philly's got a strong team. By no means do they have an easy schedule. They're going to have their challenges. AFC North-wise, I don't think the AFC North looks like really anything other than them Ravens. I think the Ravens got a squad this year.
It'll be interesting to see how Big Ben does coming back.
Did you see that video of him by chance? He looks so fat and stupid. Oh, my God, I hate him.
It's off-season. Big Ben is a natural athlete. He makes throws and is a leader out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh wins a division. Lamar Jackson, everybody will have him figured out, although they picked up a nice running back and a nice linebacker.
Yeah,
so
where do you see Pittsburgh coming in at?
I think Pittsburgh 9-7. I see Baltimore 9-7. Bengals 6-7 wins. Cleveland 6-7 wins. Cleveland, they have the personnel there, but they got a lot of head cases in that locker room.
Well, it's like having AB on your team.
Right.
I mean, look at the Steelers. If AB had his head on straight, what was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And they got kicked out of the playoffs after they beat us, and I think with the Ravens were playing the Browns, and the Browns, whatever that situation was. If AB had a strong head there, and he didn't miss that last game when he was actually in the locker room, I mean that. It goes to show you that one nutcase can really tear down a team.
Absolutely. A locker room's important.
Yeah. And actually, with what we got this year, I mean, there's nothing but good energy coming.
I like that. They got rid of the last negative guy, Drake Kirkpatrick.
Yep. And what we need to do, I'll throw this back. Shout out to John Phipps, who was on the show. We need to feed the horse. We need to give.
Absolutely. Let's give Mixon the ball.
We need to give him the ball. And we need to pay him. I think we can pay him.
Sure. I think Christian McCaffrey money is stupid money.
Oh my God. I saw that.
Well, let's say he blows the knee.
Yeah. There it goes.
I mean, then you got all this dead money.
Yep.
I mean, that's just me.
Well, Uncle Phil, I got a question for you that I ask everybody. Where were you when Jeremy Hill fumbled?
You know where the hell I was.
You were there.
Section 231, row 2.
What was going through your mind?
And by the way, it wasn't a fumble. The NFL said 2 weeks after that it was not a fumble. His knee had been down. Okay? So it was not a fumble. It was called a fumble. That goes back to my conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was one of those things. Crap, we've got bad karma. We got bad karma.
There was a lot of stuff that happened afterward, which was frustrating. Which I don't want to point. You can't point fingers, but I mean, Marvin's got to get his team under control there. That was a absolute.
Well, but Pittsburgh was running out on the field too.
Jerry
You remember?
Porter was acting like an absolute idiot as well.
The officials needed to get control of that game. There should have been penalties on Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah,
and which would have been offsetting penalties.
Being one of them.
Correct, but Joey Porter should have been a bench penalty on that.
Yeah.
honestly, I wish Burfict would have lit up Antonio Brown.
I said that when I was on the radio.
He already got a 15-yard penalty. Why don't you just clean his clock for good?
Did you hear how my interaction with Stephen A. on
Yeah.
the radio? I told him that, and I'm like, you do realize how? I mean, Burfict's a big boy. Buddy's got. I mean, he plays old-fashioned football, but he can. I mean, he could have ended Antonio Brown's career if he wanted to.
I mean,
when you look at the tape, he moved his shoulder.
In the old days, he wouldn't have pulled up.
No.
But that's
football.
I would have lit him up.
That's football. But that's all I really got for you. But do you got anything for Cincinnati other than?
Come on, Cincinnati, just be good fans. Love our teams because they're our teams. That's all I ask. Wear your black and orange, and just wear it proud. When you see somebody on the street who has black and orange on, just give them a little hoo day. Because I'm telling you, when I'm in Pittsburgh, that happens. Not the who day. They just go, Steelers.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wish we had that. I'm very jealous. I wish we had that here.
And I feel like it's coming.
Unfortunately, in Cincinnati, it takes a winner.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that really bothers me, when we do win a Super Bowl, if we don't back it up the next year, you know what Cincinnati fans are going to say? Well, you didn't win 2 in a row.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate
Jesus Christ.
And you know what? Shout out to Andy Dalton for dealing with that bull crap.
Love Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
love him.
Poor guy dealt with that for the longest time.
Absolutely.
But, Uncle Phil, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks. By the way, this is a great podcast. I hope everybody tells all their friends about it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Well, folks, that's week 4 under the belt. We're going to give our shout out to our small businesses locally. Just to support that local business. We got Aaron Hatfield with Hatfield Logistics, which is a local veteran-owned independent freight broker providing shipping and transportation services locally, regionally, nationally. Whether it's expedited freight in small shipments or a full truckload, Hatfield Logistics can meet you where you are. Forget the corporate shuffle and dishonest or frustrating business practices. Aaron will give you honest advice and feedback, and you will always be able to reach him. Shop local and integrity first. Another one, we got Clint Kirsting with Triple Crown Wealth Management, best in the business when it comes to finances. And if you're looking for any retirement guidance through this volatile market, reach out to Clint Kirsting at Triple Crown Wealth Management. You can reach him at his email, which is ckersting@tc-wealth.com. Well, folks, that's all I got for you. Next week we got John Phipps, and he's bringing in a former Bengal. We're gonna make that announcement later this week. Again, thank you to Uncle Phil for being flexible. We had to push that we had to push John Phipps and his guest and back a week. But we're looking forward to it. We're gonna come in firing and with more content. But other than that, feel free to reach out to me if you got any questions at anchordowncincy@gmail.com. That's CINCI. You can also visit the website at anchordowncincinnati.com. We got merchandise coming out, so stay tuned for that. But other than that, thanks for anchoring down with me, Cincinnati. We'll see you next week.